do your research before you travel to whatever country. What is the racial system like there? How much do you have to work to actually make enough? There is a minimum wage. Find out what that is. Don't just wake up and say you want to Japa. Where are you going? My name is Priscilla and I live in Kingston upon Thames in the UK. I am a fashion designer and a content creator and I make around £3,000 a month. My fashion story really started, I'll say like early 2000s.
Okay.
I studied microbiology at University of Benin. But after I finished that, I did something called it's like an internship for 3 months at Rambax in Lagos, like a pharmaceutical. So I did that and I quickly realized that, man, this is not the life I want. So I had a very honest conversation with my parents and they were open enough to listen to what I had to say. And I told them, you know what, I want to go and study fashion and I don't want to do it in Nigeria. And for someone who has gone through that path and they kind of envisioned a future for me, it didn't make sense to them a lot then, especially the way I wanted to do it. So I came here in 2014, October, to study fashion design, diploma level. Plan was just to come for 9 months, study and go back home, but life really lived. So after the diploma, I did a BA for 2 years in fashion design. And while I was studying fashion, I started my YouTube channel.
And how has the journey been so far?
It's really been a journey of discovering myself because my mom used to say that I was very soft. And what she meant by that, I would cry easily, I'll give up really easily. But coming here alone teaches you to be independent very quickly. It's also a society that is not very forgiving on anyone who is lazy, anyone who lacks discipline, or anyone who is not willing to apply themselves. I quickly realized that I needed to get my act together and I almost had to prove myself to my parents because they took that risk on me. This was like millions in tuition. They're like, let's see how far you go in this fashion thing. So I was like, okay, I have to do well. I don't have a choice. So I did very crazy jobs. I worked in retail while I was studying because I kind of wanted to succeed. And I don't even think I'm there yet. I honestly think I'm still growing, learning, and discovering possibilities in fashion.
So what was that journey like, leaving Nigeria, coming to the UK?
I have an uncle here. We're not related by blood, but we kind of just call him like an uncle. So he was on that pick me up from Heathrow. This was October, so it was very cold. I remember just coming out of the airport and being like, wait, why is it so cold? I'm not ready for this cold. So he picked me up from the airport, kept me in his place for the first few weeks before I settled in. The thing with a lot of African communities here is we have the aunties and the uncles who are willing to give you free accommodation and food for the first few months you're here, as long as you have a plan to get out of their house. Don't just stay there and be eating their free food. So that was kind of my first year when I was here until I moved in with my now husband.
So you were a microbiologist in Nigeria,
yeah,
and then you came here to do your
fashion design.
How does that transition work? How do you move from microbiology to fashion designing?
I think I've always enjoyed styling looks in a modest way. I think that's something that I do really well. And when I was back in University of Benin, my classmates were always like, you always look so nice. Tell us your secret. How do you know to put this top with this bottom? So I've always had that interest in fashion, but not actually knowing how to make it. So before I came, I did a short 3-month program somewhere in Japa called Matwain. And that was where I had my first introduction into pattern cutting. And I was like, wait, you have to make the pattern in paper first before you make the garment, because a lot of the tailors who made our clothes, we just cut freehand straight onto the fabric. That's what I knew growing up. So when I discovered that there's actually a proper way to make clothes and to get the fit right, I became really, really curious. That's when I now had the conversation with my parents. I want to go abroad to study fashion. I would not be who I am today if I was not born and raised in Nigeria. So I live here. This is my home with my husband and where I'll be with my family, but Nigeria will always have a place in me. Welcome to my space. This is where I live and where I work. The first room on this side is our lounge entertainment type of space. My husband works here as well. So he kind of just works on that computer with the chair. After you go through this door, come into what is meant to be the living room, but this has now become my studio. We somewhat agreed that that's what we'll do with this space when we're moving here, because it's the biggest room in the house. I wanted a space that if clients came over, they kind of like felt like it was a workspace. So I would take the work to the machine. This is where I would do a lot of my sewing. This is a Juki DL 8700.
Oh wow, you even know the...
It's there. It's
okay,
right there. It's right there.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your business. What are the businesses that you do?
I am a fashion designer, so I create women's wear clothing and accessory, but I have broken down the process into different revenue streams. So designing is one, making the clothes is another, and then inside that I create content teaching people how to make their own clothes, and that is like the foundation of what I do, because from that I get customers who want to do workshops and trainings. From that I get clients who want to, oh, I have this wedding, can you make me this gown? From that I get invited to speak at events or workshop and seminars. So it's like a really good foundation that I'm thankful for, and I kind of just like got different streams of income from that platform.
Would you say you're a fashion designer more, or would you say you're a content creator more?
No, I'm a fashion designer more. I think a purpose that drives me is I want to use the knowledge I've acquired to uplift others. So whether that's through the content I'm making, whether it's a piece I've made that they've worn that made them feel amazing, or just like watching my journey and maybe that inspires them as well. So I am definitely a fashion designer more, so I would design pieces and share that. I would, maybe if I learn a new technique or I discover this like sewing tool, I would share that on my YouTube channel as well.
Has it helped in terms of like sales or stuff like that?
It definitely has helped, because the thing about working on the internet is it's a global audience. There are people in the US, people in Australia, people in Nigeria even. Everybody's able to connect with you, connect with your story, and buy from you if they want to. So I have an online website, shop.kimdave.com, and on there we have the ready-to-wear pieces, we have Angara fabrics, we also have digital sewing patterns, because if you want to make a garment but you don't want to make the patterns yourself, you can just buy the pattern, download it and print it at home, and then assemble it, and you have your pattern ready.
I'm sure you get a lot of orders. So how do you manage that?
So I get a lot of orders for the digital stuff that I do, because I think people will find that more interesting, and maybe they find it more useful because they can use it for themselves or for their businesses. So I have an online course. I basically take you through the process of like the tools you need to make your own clothes, the basic patterns you need to like create your own garments, and then I sort of like share how to make different types of garments. So it's a beginner course that is on Teachable. And then on the Shopify website, I have workshops, I have an ebook. If you want to launch your own clothing brand, you can grab that as well. And then the other digital pieces are like the sewing patterns that you can just buy, print and assemble.
So like averagely, how much does each revenue stream make?
I would say YouTube makes me the most money, and on YouTube I could earn between £1,000 to £2,000. If it's a really busy month, videos are popping, yes, that's about how much. But if I'm ill or I'm traveling or I'm not really pushing it like that, then it drops. Teachable, the course, I think I made like $2,000 because I launched it, I think it was last year, and the period I promoted it, I made $2,000. So I really need to update that course and make more money from it.
Yeah, I think you.
Yeah.
What has been your highest month on YouTube ever?
It was just a little over £2,000, and that I think a video went viral or something like that. But that's not every month. Some months it'd be like 700, some months 1,200. So it goes up and down. It really fluctuates.
So what about you making pieces for people?
Yes, that one depends. Let me give you a good example. I did a pop-up in May. It was a week-long pop-up, and I made 9 sales, and I made like £900 in a week. But I would say on average like £500, give or take. That would be like the mean average if I were to like add up everything.
What would you say is like averagely in terms of like what you make like per month from all these revenue streams?
I would say the range would go from 1,000 to 3,000.
Okay.
So I would just pick like 1,800. That's like how much I would say that I earn. We have tried to manage the space in a way that makes sense for us. So I would typically edit here on these 2 screens. In here is the main bathroom. This place comes with 2 rooms, 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. So this is like the main one that we would use. The last space I would show you is the bedroom. I would say this is a king bed, wide enough for two. This is like a 3-part wardrobe. I have 2 parts of it because I have more stuff. So it's a wardrobe that we have tried to make work between my husband and I. That's what's here. So clothes, shoes, and bags. What else?
Keep mentioning your husband. Let me show you. Guys, let me show the husband she has been talking about.
That is the husband.
I am the husband.
How expensive is it to live in London?
It is very expensive. We had to move outside of central London because we used to live like somewhere really central, close to Baker Street. But we moved to Kingston now because the rent is just insane. There's a rent, there's a council tax, and then you also have to now figure out electricity, Wi-Fi, your phone, contract bill that goes out. And if you have someone coming to assist you at shoots, you pay them as well. If you have to get fabrics, you pay them. There are all these other things. Food, I spend the most money on food. Hey God.
Okay, wait, before we go into that one, let's just break it down. Where you were living before, you said it was very expensive.
Yes.
So like how much was that, and currently where you're staying now, how much? And also give me like how many bedroom apartment was that?
Yeah, so that was a studio. Okay. It was like this size.
Yeah.
And we were paying like £800. And we've moved here, and this is a 2-bed, 2-bath, and we pay 1,300. Council tax, it depends on the borough you live in. I think ours is around £250 per month.
Oh, you pay every month?
Yeah, so they bill you at the beginning of the tax year. April, you get the fresh bill, and then you pay it like month by month.
Okay.
So that is another money.
So that money goes to the government?
Yeah, they say they're picking up your garbage, you're cleaning the roads.
Like service charge.
Kind of like that. And it depends on the borough you live in. Some boroughs are higher, some are less.
Then now bills like internet, how much you spend on internet and electricity?
The internet is like £60. And then electricity, we have the prepaid one. We kind of like top it up every week. We say we top it up with like £40 or £50 week by week. So that's what, 200 on electricity. Yeah. Oh, I go to the gym.
How much do you spend on gym?
It's £26.
So how much do you spend averagely on transportation, like engine trains and all of that?
If it's a month where I'm going to London for events, because traveling into London from here is like £12 a day. Yeah, say I go into London, I don't know, 3 times every week.
That's like £50.
Yeah.
So like £40.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about food. So on food, how much do you spend? And do you eat out a lot?
I've been trying to cook more. I just like the fact that I know what's going into my food. So I would say I eat my own food like 5 times a week, and then I'll eat out maybe once. So I'll order in a pizza, burger, whatever I want to eat. But food really takes up a lot of money.
So would you say eating out is cheaper than cooking your food, or would you say they are more or less the same?
The question is, do you want to be healthy and live long? Because if you want to eat out and eat cheap food, it might be less expensive. But if you want to eat good food with good ingredients, my partner and I will be intentionally trying to like eat better ingredients. So I would say it costs a little bit more to eat better.
Averagely, how much do you spend on food in a month?
It's above £200, honestly.
So based on that calculation, how much would you say you spend averagely on like everything altogether?
When we did the addition, because we have this Excel sheet, is about 2,100 and a bit on top. But the good thing is I live with my husband, so we split a lot of the bills, and he's a tech guy. They are the ones that make the money in this country. So.
Oh, okay. What does he do? What does your husband do?
He's a front-end engineer, so he's really smart, really good at what he does. I'm so thankful to have that man because he helps me with my photography, videography. He also helps me to stay grounded when I'm getting carried away by my emotions or by trends or whatever. He's one that will remind me, you have a plan in mind, let's stick to that. So I'm really thankful to have him.
When did you meet your husband?
I think it was literally the year of my diploma. The man did never wait. Like I think it was March. So I came here October 2014. I met him March 2015.
And how has it been since then?
It's been a journey of self-discovery. It's been a journey of growth, both for like myself and my business and my partner as well. Blending with his own culture has been a very interesting journey because he's Portuguese. So that's a different culture. They speak Portuguese, I don't. So I have to learn the language. I have to like try their food, go to the country, interact with his mom, his dad, his siblings. So it's been a very, very interesting journey, and I'm thankful for it, honestly.
How was that transition like, just in terms of like changing environment?
I think it was a huge culture shock because I came on my own and I've lived a very sheltered life all my life. So it's just me and my sister, and I grew up with 6 brothers. So we could not go out after a certain time, we could not wear certain things. And then I came here and it's like the direct opposite. You can be out till 1 a.m. and nobody will ask you any questions. My accent was the first thing I noticed that I noticed I was trying to now talk in a particular way to blend in. And I did that for like the first few years. And I was like, wait, why am I doing this? What is the reason? I still want to be who I am and have like my identity, even if I sound different from the people that live here, that's okay. So I'll say my accent really like took a hit, but I found myself again. And then the food here I found to be very bland. So I would add like extra pepper and salt to everything.
Is it good though? It's very good. It's very good egg. It's very yummy.
And then the culture here is very every malam to his kettle kind of like you mind your business. I've not spoken to my neighbor downstairs since I moved in here. Everybody like minds their business in this country. Whereas back home, the auntie that lives opposite can be like, you have gone to school, you've come back. Like they're always in your business. They're really nosy, but I know that comes from a place of love.
Yeah.
So that kind of like isolation, I went through a lot when I just moved here, but I'm thankful that I had my uncle, I had my aunt, and then I met my husband like not too long after I moved.
Would you say it's been easier to live here as compared to Nigeria?
You gain some things, you lose some things. So for what I do, I am thankful that I'm here because the fashion industry here is way more established, there are way more opportunities, and because what I do is online, I have that access to so many eyeballs around the world. Whereas in Nigeria, I think it's still kind of like developing and growing. It's not where it was a couple of years ago. It's actually like thriving right now, but it's not where it is in London at the moment. But with that now comes fierce competition. Like there's so many amazing creators, so many amazing designers. Like I'm competing with brands that have been established for 20 years. Like that's how intense the competition is. So I really have to up my game, really have to like put in the work. So I and my brand, we stand out whether it's online or in person at events. Another thing that I would say about living here is my family's back home. I miss home a lot. I miss like my parents, my brothers. I miss a lot of family events. That's something that's really sad. My brother passed and I couldn't attend the funeral. That was actually heartbreaking, and it was during COVID. So you will have situations like that you will not be there for like very important moments for your family and friends that are back home or wherever they may be. You kind of like weigh out what you're willing to sacrifice to live here. It's a society that works. Everything works. Travel, there's constant light, Wi-Fi, everything works. But you will now have to work really hard to make enough to cover the high cost of living.
You know, there's this wave happening called the Japa wave. You know, you've been living here, you were there before you're living here. What are your thoughts?
I honestly think do your research before you travel to whatever country. Social media and what people are telling you is just one side of the story. What is the racial system like there? Like how much do you have to work to actually make enough? There is a minimum wage. Find out what that is. What is the healthcare like? Because you have to take care of yourself when you move to that country. Are you going alone? Are you going to study? Don't just wake up and say you want to Japa. Where are you going? If you are coming here, just be ready to work really hard. And it's a kind of hard work that nobody prepares you for until you come here. My first job was actually, I had to knock on people's doors and ask them to sign up to like a charity. And if you didn't get sign-ups, you did get paid.
Oh wow.
Like it wasn't even a case of you got minimum wage and if you don't get those people paying their money, like you were not paid anything. So it was a tough job. So the day I came back from my shift and my toes were actually bleeding, that's how many hours I had to work. And yeah, working in the winter, working in the summer, nobody cares, just get those sign-ups and submit it to your supervisor or your boss. So that job, I can't believe I did that thing. I did it for a while.
How much were you paid for that job?
Guy, you were only paid when you got sign-ups. So there were days I didn't even get paid.
And you still worked?
Yes, you had to like hustle to get the sign-ups to then get paid. But there was no guarantee that you were going to meet people who were nice enough to sign up to the charity that you were like offering to them. After that, I worked in retail. I worked in retail for a long time, and basically that means the sales associate that you see when you go into a shop, the one that help you in fitting room, at the tills, I did that job. And even after I started my business, I was still working part-time for a while because I wanted to save up kind of like enough buffer money that would cover me until things like really like started to settle in well for my business. And retail I'm thankful for because when I started working at the more high-end brands, it was really good market research for me because I started to see what people like, what they were wearing, how much they were willing to spend, and I would kind of like use that to inform me when I was like designing my own pieces or trying to price my products, because I've seen what real women are spending on their clothing like monthly.
What's the meaning of KimDave?
Kimberly is my other English name. My parents actually named me Kimberly. I was the first girl after like many boys, so they wanted to give me as many names as possible.
Okay.
And then Dave is my dad's name. So it's my name, but it's not really my name because my goal is I want the brand to go to a point where I don't necessarily have to be the one in front of the camera. KimDave can exist without me. I think I want to get to the point where I can take care of my family, myself without thinking too much about it, without being anxious about money. I want to be able to sustain myself without relying on my husband all of the time. And then I want to continue to grow the business, have it make its own money, continue to thrive, and hopefully hire people to assist me. I think that would be very lovely here. I want to be able to actually be in Nigeria for months and then come here months. So not have to be fixed in one particular place. I think that's something I really love to do at some point in the future, but I need to get there financially to be able to afford that lifestyle.
What would you say has been some of the important lessons you've learned?
Life comes in seasons. You will go through a season where everything will be smooth, sailing, no wahala, but you now go through some other season and nothing that you seem to do works. And what I've learned from that is God is preparing you for the next season of your life. I know from mine, I was learning patience. I'm not a very patient person, but I have been forced to wait through periods. I've been said no to. I've lost like loved ones, but from going through those things, I have learned to be patient and to trust the process. And if I'm going through a season of like, I'm not sure why things are not working, I'm like, oh yeah, God, oh. What are you teaching me? Give me the insights to pick up those things. So when I go to that next season where you give me that big brand deal, I know how to manage my money and my time better, that I'm not blinded by the money that is in front of me.
If you were to start your journey again, what would you do differently?
I think I would have just started earlier. Fail, make the mistakes, and then learn in the process. And don't be afraid to speak up and share my opinions, because I can be in my head a lot. I can be like, oh, what would they say? What would they think of me? I'm not sure. But just, say what you're thinking. As long as you're not offending or you're not being rude to anyone. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
What's the future for your company and your brand?
The future for KimDave would be to continue to create clothing and for it to grow to the point where I can actually hire people. And in addition to that, I want to keep doing YouTube. I don't know if I'll be the one in front of all of the videos, because I honestly think at this point people just love the concept of being able to make their own stuff. So it doesn't have to be me, as long as it's someone who understands the process and shares it in a way that people kind of understand it. And then I want to be able to like just go home for months and then come here and execute here. I think that back and forth would be really sweet for me, because I can go back, get inspired, enjoy the weather, the food, the culture, and then come back here and absorb what I can and like create an amazing product, whether that's a video or a garment. So
guys, I'm going to link all the pages in the description below. Go and check out our YouTube page, our course, everything that has to do with fashion. And yeah, that's all we have to share with you today. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.